Hi, everyone. I'm Karen Capricioso, and I'm here today with Diana Ralston from Cand-Aid. And I'm really excited to have a chance to talk to Diana. Before I do that, I want to give just a little context for those of you who are watching for the first time today. As the pandemic began to unfold, Rick and I at Intersect Your Partners started thinking about and noticing some of our nonprofit partners were really doing a great job with adapting and diving in and making change, and others were struggling a little bit more with trying to figure out what to do. And we thought, what is it that is causing some nonprofits to really shine during this time and adapt quickly? And the word that kept coming up for us was resilience. We started seeing resilience everywhere. As flood communities from 2013, we know the word resilience in a big way from that experience as well. And so today we're going to talk with Diana as part of our series of conversations with nonprofit leaders to learn about how they've adapted and what they've done to make their organizations continue on during this tough time that we're all experiencing. So welcome, Diana.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here and great to see your face.
You too. It's really nice to see you. So Diana is joining us today from Lyons, Colorado, which is just up the street from where I am in Longmont, as you can see from her beautiful view. Diana she founded and has been the executive director of Cand-Aid since 2013 and almost 7 years now, which is a kind of a running theme of the people I've talked to so far. Everybody's right around that 7-year mark. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody gets the 7-year itch soon. But Rick and I worked with Cand-Aid on strategic planning in 2018, in the summer and fall of 2018. So I know, Diana, you've been in the midst of implementing a pretty aggressive strategic plan designed to grow the organization. And why don't you start by just telling us about Cand-Aid, what it does, what kinds of programs and services you all offer?
Sure. Our tagline, basically, or our mission is that we provide, basically the underlying theme through all of our programs is this people-powered do-goodery. And that is the belief that everybody has the ability to give back and do good. And we're just trying to encourage that and make it easy for people to see that they can have an impact, whether they have, only 20 minutes, no money to contribute. We try to host events all around the country where people can come together. And we've got 4 program areas: Towns, Tunes, Treads and Trails, and Love Your Mama. So we do things where we're rallying community members to actually come together, roll up their sleeves, and do the work, whether that is assembling brand new bicycles or brand new skateboards through our Treads and Trails program, and actually physically building them, and then attending the donation where they're given to children at Title I public schools across the country. Or whether it's coming together and cleaning up the river. We're hosting a river cleanup later this summer here in Lyons. So it's really about that, making it accessible and easy for people, and also fun, so that they realize that there is very little barrier to entry, and they can see the fruits of their labor, and they can feel good about giving back, because especially given the climate right now, everybody needs to be thinking about how they can help and what we can do to just promote general goodness, do-goodery.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. How have the organization has changed a bit. I mean, you started out as a foundation through Oskar Blues Brewery, is that correct?
It is. When Cand-Aid started, everybody involved in getting it up and running, myself included, we all worked at Oskar Blues at the time, but our initial seed money came from the founder of Oskar Blues, Dale Katechis, and then the brewery itself helped give us money. And the first almost 18 months of our existence really was about raising as much money as possible and getting it out to families and nonprofits and business owners in Lyons and Longmont who had been negatively impacted by the flood.
Wonderful. And how has that transitioned over time? You've really become a standalone organization.
We have, I think that we're hardwired to do something immediately. And so that was the impetus. Although I had been in conversations with Dale and some of the leadership at Oskar Blues for probably a year prior to launching Cand-Aid, with this idea of, does it become just a corporate social responsibility arm of the brewery, or are we going to start our own publicly funded nonprofit? And that's the route that we went. We certainly wouldn't be where we are today without the support of Oscar Blues, but we are completely independent 501c3, relying on grants and donations and fundraisers to, keep us going and sustain our programs.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. We have worked with over the years a few organizations that have formed out of corporations, and the way that it goes down is always a little bit different. So it's interesting, I think, and people who are watching will be interested to hear how that shook out. Okay, so you've been growing your team. One thing that Rick and I probably said to you and Sarah and Alyssa when we were working with you about strategic planning, that we say to most of our strategic planning clients, is the only thing we know about strategic plans is that they will be wrong. But little did we know, insert global pandemic into year two of your implementation. So how have things changed? What have you been doing since COVID, since stay-at-home orders? How has that all evolved?
Honestly, as you and I chatted briefly before this, we have really grown our team. It started out just myself, and then Sarah Levitt joined, Alyssa Lyle. Now we actually have 5 full-time and 1 part-time employees. We're spread out. One's in Connecticut, one's in Ohio. The rest of us are in Colorado. But we had huge momentum coming into 2020, as I think a lot of people did. We felt great. We had a Candade staff retreat in early January in the mountains of Colorado, and just had these huge lofty goals, and we felt like we could really, conquer the world. And then everything kind of came to this grinding halt. But again, the whole premise of Candade, as I said, was that we believe people have the ability to get back and do good, and they want to. And that doesn't stop. In fact, it increases during a pandemic because you see so much hardship and heartache all around you. And so we just would meet on Zoom and we would say, we've got to do something. How can we pivot? How can we change? And with an organization that's based on bringing people together when stay at home, shelter in place, social distancing is recommended and enforced, it was impossible for us to continue our programs the way that we typically ran them. So we've just had to get really creative, and luckily we've got a pretty scrappy, creative team and throw ideas out there, and we've never been afraid of that risk of just trying it. Well, we're all sitting at home, let's do something. So that's kind of the mentality that we've always had.
That's great. What kinds of things have you tried or are you doing now?
So we started we called it the People Powered Pen Pal Network, where we paired up people, and initially it was children, but really it's just people of different generations with isolated seniors. And some seniors are in assisted living centers, and some are seniors living on their own, but that are interested in actually good old-fashioned letter writing. So that's been really fun. And we had templates that people could download and color and fill in, and we would give them prompts about, hey, it's Earth Day this week. Why don't you write your pen pal about something you're doing that's good for Mom Earth, and that type of thing. So we've gotten a really good response from that. We have, during Earth Day, we tried to do a week of, as everybody makes their loops around their neighborhood with the people that they've been sheltering in place with, hey, we called it the 1 can challenge. Can you pick up 1 piece of trash, 1 piece of recyclable material each time you do the loop around your neighborhood? So this is fun. And then just recently we launched something that we're calling Do Goodery at Your Doorstep. And so it's basically taking our Treads and Trails program or our art kit program and individualizing them. So instead of getting 100 people to come together to build 200 bicycles, you can go on and order 10 bicycles that are sent to your home. So you and your family or whoever you're comfortable with can socially distant build the bikes, or same with skateboards, and then the art kits. And then all of those items are then donated to children in foster care wherever they're being built. So if somebody in California wants to do it, we connect with local children in California in need. And it was initially for an individual. So you and Rick could say, we want to do this. We want to build 10 skateboards, or we want to build 5 bicycles. It's a high price point, obviously, because the shipping, all of the tools, all the instructions, and all the individual things to one house versus a pallet worth of stuff, the prices definitely go up. But what we discovered is that people have time, and a lot of people still have the means because they still have their jobs. They're not spending money on going out to eat or going to music and festivals and travel. And so they, you know, some of those people do have the means. And then we also heard from a lot of our Candide volunteers that said, I absolutely love this program. I'm not in a position to pay for it right now. So if you get a fiscal sponsor or a corporation that wants to do it, please put me on the list. I will do the physical labor. So we're hoping that maybe a corporation will step up and pay for it because we have a lot of willing volunteers to do the work.
Wow, that's so cool. I love that you're staying right aligned with what you've always done, only adapting it to make it work for these interesting times that we find ourselves in.
Well, I know, and the Treads and Trails program, you know, that's sort of our solution to the amount of screen time that kids today are spending. I think it's 7 hours per day on average, and that was before virus. And so now if everyone's doing all of their schooling online, it's so important to try to give these kids an alternative to get outside and be able to lead healthy and active lives. And so I'm hopeful. We've had a few corporations reach out saying, hey, I really like this Do Gooder at your doorstep. We want our employees to feel connected and to be able to make a positive impact, but we want them to be able to do it from the safety of their homes. So I've had a couple conversations with some really big companies last week where we're hoping that we can figure out how to get these supplies to their employees, and maybe they do a Zoom team build where they're all building skateboards together on Zoom, but in their homes.
I love it. I love it. So fun. Well, what you guys do is so fun anyway. It's all based around this people and fun and engagement. I love this change. What do you think? I mean, you've mentioned that you guys are all about doing things, and what do you think that has helped to make Candide resilient? Can you think of anything else that has contributed to your resiliency at this point?
I honestly feel like a lot of it is attributed to the fact that we're more entrepreneurial in spirit than we are a traditional by the book, inside the box nonprofit. And, you know, that was one of the things we talked a lot about with you and Rick is you want to be able to be passionate and have a lot of different directions. And at times that's been a hindrance to Candide because people would say, I don't get it. What do you do? And the elevator pitch was too long. And so the idea of that people power do-goodery, that kind of sums up and is the common theme throughout all of the programs. But I think having a board of directors that is also entrepreneurial and yeah, let's try it. You know, there's not a lot of fear. Even through this coronavirus, I was, you know, hell-bent on keeping our staff. I said, I don't want to lay people off. I don't want to have this knee-jerk reaction. We've worked really hard as a team to come together and be supportive, and we feel like a family. And so I didn't want to just make the easy decision to furlough people or whatever. And we did apply for the payroll protection and got it, which was great. And slowly coming back to do some of our programs similar to the way we used to do them. Later this month, we have a bicycle build and a river cleanup in Denver. And we have new Candide branded masks and hand sanitation and sanitizer and shifts where people sign up. So there's never going to be more than 10 volunteers, and they'll be socially distant. So we're doing the bike build out on a patio in Denver. So adapting that way, but still continuing to feel like we're making a difference and getting people from the community to come help.
Mm-hmm. That's great. You mentioned the board, but I also know you and have seen you build this organization. To what degree do you think that Candide's resiliency is based on you and your leadership, and to what degree do you think you have built it into the organization as you've developed it over the last few years?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I really have to just defer to sort of my team because we are such a close-knit group, and I'm much more of a big picture dreamer, like what if we did this? And then luckily I've got Sarah Levitt and Alyssa and Logan that are very detail oriented, and they're like, whoa, I see that you already got your eye on Z, but we need to get from A to Z, and here are the hurdles, here are the pain points along the way. So I feel lucky that we found each other and that everybody is just so passionate that we figure out how to do it. And this Do Gooder at your doorstep, it may flop. I don't know, but nobody on my team is afraid to try it. And we have had really great feedback. Although, like I said, the pain point is the price. So, we're trying to figure out, do we have some sponsors that would sponsor that, and we can continue to do it and we'll see.
That's great. I'm wondering, so you're looking for people to support your work. Tell us how people can get involved. If there's someone watching this who wants to contribute, who wants to build bikes at their doorstep, or who wants to sponsor for people to be able to do that at home.
Sure. So the website is the best way to get in touch with us, which is just candaid.org, candaid.org. And there's a link to the Do Gooder at Your Doorstep. There's also a link to donate. We are looking for volunteers for both the river cleanup and the bike build that will happen later in Colorado. And then because we do have team members in Ohio and Connecticut, we're working on programs in those states as well right now. Right now, we don't feel comfortable having our staff get on planes, which is typically the way we operate. And so we've got a team member that lives in Ohio, so we're planning river cleanups there, and another one in Connecticut, so we'll plan some programs there. So I would just encourage people to go to our website and sign up for our newsletter, and then they'll be informed of things happening all over the country.
Great, good. We'll make sure to include a link to that when we post the video. Anything else you want to share about Candaid or how things are going or unfolding?
No, I mean, I think we covered most of it. I feel grateful that we're able to continue to do the work. We're kicking around some really big ideas for some other things, because I feel like right now, particularly this last week, in the news has been so heartbreaking that it almost, as much as I believe in the current work that we're doing, it almost feels small compared to what needs to happen with our country. So our world. So we're kicking around some other big ideas that may or may not come to fruition, but I just appreciate the support we've had. We actually had a pretty good Giving Tuesday now, which was amazing because we felt like it was an inappropriate time to ask people for money. But like I said, I think that people do have some money and they do want to give back. So those people can help us by their donations. And then the folks that just want to do good and don't have any funds, they can still participate through our volunteer programs around the country.
Great. Well, I would love anytime, as you know, Rick and I would love to chat about your big ideas in particular, our favorite thing to do, talk about big ideas.
Oh yeah, the BHAG.
Yes, and maybe one of these days we'll actually be able to sit together on a patio and have a beer with appropriate
Maybe go for a bike ride and then have a beer. That'd be great.
That sounds wonderful. Diana, thank you so much for taking the time. Please say hi to Sarah and Alyssa from us. And folks, if you are interested in supporting Candaid or learning more, I'll make sure to post the link. And we're just so appreciative of your time, and congratulations on just being a great example of resiliency during this tough time.
Thank you so much. It's great to see you.
Thanks. You too. Take care.
Bye.